9. (8:05) and hour number 3 of the first quarter. Coming to you from the Budweiser Studios, Cumulus Broadcasting, Heather Harrington and Tyler Ivins. Also worldwide at Sports Radio, WNML.com. It is here. It is finally here. Man, I am excited for what is about to take place inside these studios this morning in the final hour. WNML Draft Central officially happening, and it's going to be happening up until draft night, which is happening 3 weeks from tonight. Will West, Vince Ferrara, 1.0 joining us in studio today. Boys, good morning to you. Rise and shine, stretch it.
Yeah.
And how do you feel?
A little earlier than I'm used to it these days, but we're fired up to do this. And again, a ton of draft coverage we'll have for everybody.
Yep.
Twin Peaks is making it all happen. We'll have the live draft coverage during the first round of the NFL draft live at Twin Peaks on Thursday, April 26th, and we'll be giving you mock drafts from the staff all the way up until April 26th. One thing I should point out, like Josh Ward and I started doing these for we've done it 5 or 6 years in a row. We usually finish ahead of Kuiper and McShay. I don't think we've ever finished.
Really?
We've never finished behind Kuiper. We've finished behind McShay once. But so we just like, okay, well, why aren't we doing mock drafts if we're better than these guys? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we're doing right now is you're getting our staff mock drafts, and we hit on these about as well as everybody else does.
Why would we want Kuiper and McShay when we can have Ward and West?
That's right.
I know.
Well,
why aren't these guys getting paid better than Kuiper and McShay, right?
I think your bar should be, why aren't we on ESPN rather than why aren't we doing mock drafts? I think you need to raise your goals.
Gentlemen, I don't know how amped up you get. I mean, we all have our respective teams that we cheer for, but at the same time, I can't remember the last time that there was a draft out there that this was talented rich. There's just so much talent that can fall between 1 through 32, and so many teams out there, 3 to be exact. Buffalo, Cleveland, New England, they have multiple draft picks. I mean, this can go any way, and there's still trades that still could happen.
Yeah, no, there absolutely could still be trades. Our mock draft 1.0s, we do not have trades. So that was one thing that we will not have trades in any.
So you don't have 2 Patriots picks.
No, we do have that one. We don't have we don't have
Projected.
draft day trades. So I do think the Bills will trade up with either the New York Giants or I don't know, maybe the Denver Broncos, one or the other. But I do think they're or Indy at worst. But I do think that we're not going to project those in mock draft 1.0.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk picks, but let me ask you really quickly: how many times do you really change? Like, how much do your drafts change from week to week?
Well, you'll actually get a lot right now. Starting right now, you will get a lot. Like, there's a reason ESPN will start these in February, and then right now they'll start just churning one out every week because things will change and things get fluid, and because of those situations, that's one of the reasons. This week we'll do our 1.0. Vince and I will. Next week, Tyler, yours, Josh, and Jimmy Hyams 1.0s will be up on the side, and you guys will do that. And then we'll have the 2.0s 2 weeks from now, then the 3.0 the day of the draft.
3 weeks from today, boys. Yep. I'm totally amped for this.
I'm fired up too.
And Mock Central's already up there, gives you all the details, lets you know when we're going to unveil and everything, the pattern, and the description's already up there. And you can see, we won't get into every single pick. We won't have time for that. But you can go and check out all of ours and then just keep checking back for everybody else's mocks that'll be unveiled. 1.0s next week, and then
I'm going to be fact-checking you guys like CNN every time Trump's on.
That's fair.
You guys misspelled Quentin Nelson.
So McShay and Kuiper right now can't agree on who the number 1 overall pick's going to be. My question is, do Ferrara and West agree on who the number 1 pick's going to be? A lot of quarterbacks to decide for, a lot of things we have to go through those top 6 picks.
Yeah, I have the Cleveland Browns taking Sam Darnold. I think that they have the type of competent leadership that's just going to do the easy, smart thing, and I think they're not going to try to overthink this. I also think that
Wait, that might be the first time that they've been accused of that.
I know. Well, John Dorsey's actually good at his job, and so they hired someone who's a quality executive, and it looks like ownership stepping out of the way, which is smart. So I think the Cleveland Browns are going to just do the thing the dumbest guy in the room would do. Go draft Josh Rosen doesn't want your gig. Go draft Sam Darnold, and I think that they will do that. They'll pull the trigger on that, and I think Darnold will end up being the guy.
Yeah, the signs are good that they're making good moves right now, acquiring Landry and just being very aggressive and making some right moves. But I got to see that translate to the field. I'm going to give them enough credit. That, and they obviously have a horrible history of identifying quarterbacks and then drafting them. I think they're going to take a quarterback at 1, but I think it's Josh Allen. I think it's the arm talent that he's separated from everybody else. That pro day wowed a lot of people. He's just a little bit different in the way he throws the football. Yes, there's that accuracy that's a question, but I think they're going to love that arm talent, and he's a kid that puts in work. So I have Josh Allen number 1.
Jimmy Haslam has talked to both the parents of Allen and Darnold, and it's really a crapshoot right now because last week all we heard was mark it down, this is over, Sam Darnold's the number 1 guy, and then we see Josh Allen work out for the Browns. Haslam's going through the same process, shaking hands, the same talent are there. We see the way Allen drops back in Indianapolis, and everyone's going, okay, I want to retract that statement because now it's Josh Allen. Is there any question it's going to come down to Darnold or Allen?
Yeah, none whatsoever. Rosen doesn't want the gig, and so that to me, I'll be floored if it's Allen. But this could absolutely be the Jimmy Haslam type move, is to pull something like that, like Vince said, and Jimmy Haslam falls in love with him and does say, hey, this is you have to draft. We watched them do that with a quarterback before. His name is Johnny Manziel, right? So the people that I see on NFL that on social media that usually know say it's Darnold. I think it'll be Darnold. It's not outside the realm of possibility that Josh Allen is that guy.
So then, gentlemen, after the Browns, this is where things get interesting because it's New York, New York. As of right now, the Giants have the number 2 pick. The Jets have the number 3 pick. Both teams need quarterbacks for the future. This is going to be intriguing. I want to know, where do the other quarterbacks fall? Who's the New York team that blinks first? Who makes a drastic decision? Who ends up maybe trading down the line?
I think that Dave Gettleman's taking over the Giants. So I think at number 2, the Giants are going to take Bradley Chubb, defensive end, edge out of NC State. I think it'd be a bad move because your hope is that Bradley Chubb is one day as good as JPP, who you just traded, and you're paying another defensive end $19 million a year right now. So why in the world you would need a second defensive end? But I do think that Gettleman is a guy who does not value the quarterback as much, and he does not value offensive line as much. Those are the needs right now for the Giants long term. So I think they'll go with edge rush. But I do have the Jets at number 3, Vince, taking Josh Rosen, quarterback. There's a reason they traded up. That was the guy they traded up to get. That's the guy I think they land.
Well, 2, I have your number 1 in Sam Darnold. I do think the Giants pull the trigger on the quarterback. Gettleman likes.
Is it time? Is it time to start thinking
it is,
Eli's
yeah.
replacement?
But here's the thing: Eli needs to continue to play. And I don't think you need to rush Darnold to play because that
doing like an Aaron Rodgers situation, right?
Right, and maybe it won't even take that long. I think you let Eli.
We're doing Eli's situation. Eli's set for a year. You know what I mean? Let him. If you did that with Darnold, I think it would be a very smart move. As a Giants fan, I'm not expecting them to make the smart move.
And if you're going to draft a quarterback in New York, whether it's the Giants or the Jets, they better have a strong arm to be able to throw in the cold weather and the wind. So I think Darnold does pass that test. I have Darnold at number 2, and then this is the one pick we agree with so far, is I have Josh Rosen to the Jets at number 3. Look, the Jets don't have great history of drafting quarterbacks either, but even though they have a lot of other needs and they can go a number of other directions, I do think it's going to be another quarterback in Josh Rosen.
Quickly before we hit the reset, do you believe that the best quarterback will be taken number 1? Based on the order you have the quarterbacks going, Vince, I'll ask you because you have 3 quarterbacks going in the first 3 picks. Do you believe in your eyes that those are ranked 1, 2, 3, the best quarterbacks in the draft?
I don't. I think I did mine based on what I think the teams are going to do.
Right.
And every year we see it more and more where they will overdraft quarterbacks because there's such desperation for quarterbacks. I think that Lamar Jackson may end up being the best quarterback out of this class. Now, I'm not as convinced that he's going to be successful as I was Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was an absolute no-brainer for me. He's the only one in the last 4 years at quarterback that I felt that way about. I don't feel that way about Jackson, but I think even though that completion percentage is something that people get on him for, he's gotten better every year, and I think he could end up being the best of this group.
Yeah, for me, I think Rosen's the best quarterback. The question for Rosen is, can he stay healthy? We've never seen him be able to stay healthy. Now he's got his brains beaten in behind the bad offensive line at UCLA. He's easily the best thrower of the football. He's the guy I think that looks more like a polished pro-style passer and has from the time that he stepped foot on a college campus from high school. But I do think because of his attitude and because he is injury prone, I think we'll see Josh Rosen fall a little bit. But if I'm the Jets, he has that kind of New York swagger the Jets kind of like.
Does he have it?
Yeah, I think he has the it thing. But I also think he's the best thrower. And so that, at the end of the day, and I think he probably has more of an understanding of what a pro-style offense does.
When your coach comes out and says, draft the other guy, sorry, not buying your stock.
At the same time, his family, Morris family and Rosen's family are good friends. Rosen does not want to play in Cleveland. So that there's part
So
of
you
me
think
reading into
there's
that.
strategery going on there?
A little bit. I do.
Okay.
I think a little bit. I think he's saying, no, he's not a good fit for you, Cleveland, but New York, he's a perfect fit for you. Because that's, if you watch the whole clip, that's what he said.
Absolutely.
Okay.
He says, New York,
Okay.
what a great fit in New York. So, yeah, I think that he is a really bad actor, and I think that's how he rolled that one out there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
To Will's point, Mike Mayock's NFL comp for Josh Rosen is Sam Bradford because of that injury question.
And it's a big question.
Will West, Vince Ferrara joining us. It's 1.0 WNML Draft Central leading up until draft night. 3 weeks from tonight, we will be at Twin Peaks from 8 to 11. Heather and Tyler, we welcome them back for another segment. Where do the rest of the quarterbacks go, and who are some of the big teams and big names? Who could we see go top 10, top 15, top 20? We'll continue with Vince and Will on the other side of this. You're listening to Sports Radio WNML. One FM. Sports Radio WNML on your Thursday morning has turned into WNML Draft Central. Heather and Tyler, we welcome in Will West. Welcome in Vince Ferrara into the studio breaking down the NFL Draft. Vince just laid out his top 3 picks as well as Will did. Vince actually has 3 quarterbacks going with his first 3 selections. That would happen for the first time since 1999. Quickly, trivia question. Do you remember the 3 quarterbacks who went 99?
No, I do not.
No.
Was Keely Smith involved?
Number 3 overall.
No way, okay.
Number 3 overall. Number 2 overall to Syracuse would have been Donovan McNabb,
Yeah.
who was the number 1 pick the year after Manny went number 1.
Couch.
Tim Couch from
Yeah.
Kentucky to the Cleveland Browns.
Poor Tim Couch.
Poor
you
Tim
talk about
Couch.
bust of a
Okay, well, if he
first
goes...
3 picks,
But I'll
except
tell
for
you,
McNabb.
right.
If
obviously.
he goes somewhere else, there are a lot of people I know that believe Tim Couch would have been...
Different career, kind of like David
Yeah,
Carr.
yeah,
David
because
Carr
he's
goes
got
to
beat to
anywhere
death. Yeah.
else besides the Texans.
He'd have been fine.
Yeah, he
Well, not the
probably would have
Browns,
been.
but-
He probably would have been a 10-year vet.
Yeah, and he made some money. He'll be fine. But there are a lot of people that believe the Couch would have made it.
Yeah.
All right.
He's
You
not
could-
going to know how to spend it though because of CTE.
You could very well have 1 of 3 work out of this group, too.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that we could see as many as 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. That's, of course, with Mason Rudolph. Somebody else comes back to grab a quarterback. But definitely 5 seem to be the magic number this year. Guys together, I know Vince has already revealed 3 of yours. Will, you still have 3 to get to. Where do you guys see some of these other big names going?
I got Sam Darnold going at number 1 to the Cleveland Browns. I've got Josh Rosen going number 3 to the New York Jets. Josh Allen going number 5 to the Denver Broncos. And then all the way at number 11, Baker Mayfield goes to the Miami Dolphins.
Really? Falls out of the top 10,
Mayfield
huh?
makes it to Miami.
Yeah, he does make it to Miami. 15 is where I have Lamar Jackson. He goes from Cardinals to Cardinals.
Interesting. Mine is more top heavy, but then there's a gap after the 4th. I have Josh Allen 1 to the Browns, Sam Darnold 2 to the Giants, Josh Rosen 3 to the Jets. I also have Baker Mayfield at 11 to the Miami Dolphins.
Wow.
I think they're ready to move on from Ryan Tannehill. And then even though I like him, I think there's going to be some teams in there that may not. And then the opportunity is going to be a matter of who pulls the trigger. I have Lamar Jackson at 27 to the New Orleans Saints.
Really?
As
Interesting.
the heir apparent to Drew Brees and not have to rush him in there. Perfect situation. Sean Payton develops quarterbacks. That offense, I think, would fit him. And then you get to work under Drew Brees. That's the kind of situation I think would be best for Lamar Jackson, and that's what I'm going.
Another player that has had a lot of intrigue, Saquon Barkley. Where do you guys see him getting drafted, the Penn State product?
I have him going 4 to the Cleveland Browns. I think
do
that they
too.
go quarterback, running back. You do as well.
Yeah.
And just their backfield set for the next decade as long as everybody stays healthy.
Now, I'm not convinced that Cleveland keeps that pick. I think he goes top 4, but I would not be surprised if someone trades with Cleveland. Maybe they trade down and get 2 more picks and really stock up and address a lot of situations. I think Barkley, though, is looked at as such an elite, different, once-in-a-20-year type of back that someone will move up, and I think Cleveland might be willing to trade down and get multiple picks there.
Saquon Barkley, a lot of people want to know what the comparisons are to him, like Ezekiel Elliott. The Cowboys took a chance with him at the 3rd overall pick. Could you see Barkley immediately on the field, kind of like Christmas Day, take him out of the box, and he's a difference maker in the backfield?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, it's running back position. So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's get to the Titans. Everybody around here, they unveil their new uniforms. 20th year going on in Nashville. Big celebration yesterday. What are the Titans going to do in this draft? Because I'm still not sold on Corey Davis. I thought they kind of fumbled that pick. I thought there were better wide receivers. I mean, look at who the Steelers got late in the first round. That guy was huge last year, Juju.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are the Titans going to do in this draft?
I think they go edge rusher, and I think that you're going to see Vrabel do this a lot. Even though it's a position of need, I think it's going to be a situation where he values some positions over others. Edge rusher is the one that I think he goes to, and I think that he takes Harold Landry, who was an outside linebacker edge out of Boston College. Not a great year last year, but he dealt with an injury. He had 16 and a half sacks, though, 2 years ago.
Wow.
When he actually
That's
was
a
healthy
big
for Boston
number.
College. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was getting more than a sack a game before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that gets after the quarterback. I think they need that. I also have Harold Landry, Boston College, to the Titans, and thumbs up on the Navy blue helmet. In my
I
opinion.
love it.
I like it too.
Everybody's giving them crap. I had no idea that it kind of resembles the Argonauts.
Yep.
Yeah, no, and it does, but I like the
helmet.
Argonauts look. So.
Yeah, sorry, ignorance
Looks
is
awesome.
bliss. I had no idea until everybody started messaging in. I like the shoulder pads too. How they did the sword, like it looks like the sword. I give it a win, except for the font.
Yeah, the numbers, the font on
Yeah.
the numbers. I agree with that.
Is there any question that the Titans are going to go defensive heavy with Vrabel, their new head coach? Because I see them lose Avery Williamson. I'm thinking they got to stockpile somewhere, and they think they've settled the secondary with the Butler signing, another year with the Dory Jackson. Defensively, though, how do the Titans compete in an AFC South where there's a lot of points there?
Yeah, for me, I think they need to be better in the middle of the defense first. And so that's the direction that I would go if I were them. I just don't know who they necessarily drafted that spot to be a defensive tackle. And I think Vrabel's going to value the edge a little bit more than the middle of the field. But they need defense. I mean, quite frankly, they could use some offensive line depth. That's a possibility there if Robinson decides to go in that direction. Does somebody fall to them? Because I think Robinson's the kind of guy that's not afraid to just take a good talent if they fall in his lap rather than always having to go with the position of need. I just don't have someone falling to them based on the way that I think this thing shakes out.
Yeah, and anytime you have a franchise quarterback like Marcus Mariota, you have to keep in mind weapons around him. And they've got, I think, 2 good backs in Henry and Lewis now, but I think wide receiver is still an area that they can improve. Even if Corey Davis pans out, they still need more wide receiver depth. So that's something I think they could keep in mind. But I agree. I think they're going to start defense, and unless someone just is there high on their board, best player available, I think they will stay on defense.
This might sound nuts, but I'm going to bring it up. For all the traction that Odell Beckham Jr. is getting for a possible trade, Rob Gronkowski for a possible trade, I want to go to the Dallas Cowboys because Des Bryant has said, I'm not restructuring my contract, and they're going to need some cap space somewhere. I look at the Cowboys. Is there any way maybe we could see them look at wide receiver if Des Bryant was to play somewhere else in 2018?
For me, who falls? That's the question. Because if you look at it, you have Calvin Ridley, who I think is expected to be a top 20 kid from SMU. I don't think he's going to go there. I don't think we're going to see DJ Moore break into the top 20. So if you're Dallas and you're looking at wide receiver, if Calvin Ridley's already off the board, and think about the run on receivers we saw last year, how early teams drafted receivers and the way they were willing to trade up to grab receivers. I just don't think there's going to be one on the board. I think instead where you're going to see is defensive tackle. And I have them taking Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle out of Michigan, highest ranked player in Pro Football Focus history for interior linemen, but he had an EKG issue at the combine that kept him from, because of his heart, he kept him from being able to work out at the combine. He's been medically cleared, but it just depends. Is there that team that will pull the trigger on him, even though he did have the injury issue? Dallas has proven in the past they're not afraid to draft a guy who has an injury problem. They can get healthy.
Real quick, you brought up Calvin Ridley. I want to bring up another SEC wide receiver right there in the neck of the woods. What do you think about Christian Kirk at A&M?
I love him. I have him going 22 to the Buffalo Bills. They haven't had an elite slot type of wide receiver, and I think he's a guy that can change their offense. I love him. I have the run on wide receivers. I have 4 in the first round.
Wow.
DJ Moore is in there from Maryland. I have it at number 24 to the Panthers. And then I have DJ Chark to the Eagles at 32. So I think there will be that run on wide receivers. And I have Ridley at 15 to Arizona.
Are they as good as last year's? I mean, is there a Mike Williams in this draft? Because I didn't think maybe a Calvin Ridley.
Calvin Ridley's, I think, to me, is the best one, but
Okay.
I don't know about the rest of those guys. I like DJ Moore if he goes to like Philly, somewhere that will simplify things and just get him the ball out in the flat and let him make a play. I have Christian Kirk going to the New Orleans Saints. I think that you'll see them grab another guy they can line up all over the field, also help out in special teams. So Kamara went well, so let's double down on that and go with Christian Kirk.
Before we let you guys go, they always say sometimes the best player in the draft doesn't go number 1 overall. In your opinion, is the best player listed as your number 1 pick this year to the Cleveland Browns?
No, it's Quentin Nelson's the best player in this draft.
I think it's
guard out of Notre Dame.
I think it's either Minka Fitzpatrick or Roquan Smith.
I was
who
going to
have
ask
9
you
and
about
10.
Minka.
Yep.
Does he play safety or corner? Because he wants to play slot
Safety, I
corner,
think.
and Saban's telling NFL teams he needs to play safety. If he plays safety, he's going to fall down draft boards farther than if he plays corner. If he plays corner, it's a top 6, 7 pick. If he plays safety, he's a top 15 pick, so it's not that much money. It's just a matter of I don't know where he goes based on that position because he says he will play either, but he says he wants to play slot corner.
Yeah, I think some teams play both guys at both, like the Patriots, and that gives him tremendous value. Plus, he just succeeds wherever he's at. So I love him, and I would go with either Fitzpatrick or Roquan Smith.
This is awesome. I'm a huge fan of what we're doing here at WNML Draft
Yeah,
Central.
and huge thanks to Twin Peaks for jumping
Absolutely.
on this. Awesome.
Yeah, and remember, they have so many great things going on in Twin Peaks all the time. Every sports package that there is imaginable that you can buy, Twin Peaks has it. So it doesn't matter what team you're a Mets fan like Tyler, you want to go watch every Mets game, you can watch them there at Twin Peaks. They've got you taken care of. We have National Beer Day coming up as well.
And the day of the draft will be there 8 to 11,
Yeah.
the day of the first round.
All night long.
And then go to sportsradio.wnml.com. You can go into the sports tab or just look under those big promo reels that show up. Mock Draft Central, everybody's mock drafts. Will and I today, and then everybody else next Thursday.
Guess where I'm going to be at 1 o'clock today for the Mets Nationals home opener.
Hey, there you go.
Buffalo Chicken Tacos, Twin Peaks.
All
Yes, I'll be at the
right.
bar. Will, Vince, thanks for spending a
Hey,
few minutes
thank
with
you,
us,
guys.
Thanks, guys.
656-9900. Final 25 minutes. We have a crossover coming up with the Eric Ames Show with Brian Rice, Heather, and Tyler. You're inside the first quarter on Sports Radio, WNML.